The following is a presentation of Muddy River News.
Front row kicking back, old school trash like damn. Can't get enough of this mode, like I don't even know where I am.
We are the three best glasses friends that anybody could have. Like, we're all wearing glasses.
Well, when David gets done with fantasy football chat, we can start.
Yeah,
so.
okay. All right.
You go, boo. Do you know what today is?
Thursday.
In the state of Illinois. Yeah, that's good so far.
Okay.
Actually, I think it's a national thing, not a state day. National Sober Day.
Cheers.
Cheers!
Cheers.
See?
Yeah. Cheers.
I was listening to a broadcaster on a podcast today, Scott Hansen, and he does NFL Red Zone, which is a football show on Sundays. And he was talking about how I don't cuss in my private life, so I won't cuss on the air. Like, okay, because I know of good people who've gotten fired over that sort of thing. And I'm like, okay, and this dude's been in the business a long time, so I get it. He also does a show that is 7 straight hours, and he does not eat, drink, or anything, and he does not go to the bathroom for 7 hours.
Ew. I mean, that's, no, not
He's
ew,
wearing
but
a
I was
Nope.
going to, that's exactly
He
what came
says
to my
he-
mind. That's why I said ew.
Cleanses right before he goes on, and he goes 7 hours of commercial-free football, because they show all the highlights all day, so
That's a lot.
it is a lot.
I feel like
I watch a show. I watch a show
I
a
can
lot
barely
on
make it
Sundays.
through an hour.
so-
I don't think
Yeah.
that's good on his
On his
bladder
system?
and
Well, maybe if he's just
urinary system.
and then I'm sure when he's done, he has a couple beers and eats and drinks and does all that stuff. But it's only
Yeah.
7. It's only one day. It's 7 hours out of one day. He doesn't do that 7 hours every day.
Okay. That's a little
So
different.
it's just on Sundays.
But it does seem a little extreme, which for someone to claim I never cuss, that's also very extreme, even though we use some choice language
Some do,
on
some
here.
don't. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad, but I can't go through like an hour without saying a choice word or two. I can't imagine doing like my entire life.
I think
It's colorful.
the intermittent fasting is, I guess, interesting, but you usually incorporate a lot of water while you're
Right.
doing that.
but yeah, no eating, no drinking, because if he drank, he didn't have to go to the bathroom during a thing. So, but yeah, but that was all part of this podcast. It's a Sports Illustrated podcast. It was very good. And did I tell you guys to listen to the latest Smart List with Kara Swisher?
Yeah, love
really good.
Smartless. It's a great
Really good.
podcast.
Kara Swisher's a tech reporter. She's very good.
It's the latest one, then?
I think it just dropped like yesterday.
Okay.
So I listened to it. Yeah, it was really good.
I haven't
So,
listened to that one, but I do generally listen to Smartless. Those three guys are awesome.
They're great.
They're great.
I
Yeah.
listened to one today, actually. It was William
Defoe?
Defoe.
Oh,
It's not
love-
William, is it?
Willem
Willem.
Dafoe. Willem Dafoe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
it was,
great.
It is. Well, I don't know. They made it great for me.
Oh, I like him though. He's
I
like- he's a good
generally
actor.
like him, but you could kind of tell that he didn't know what a podcast was. Or
Oh, really?
Yeah, there are people who get on those kinds of shows and they really don't understand the concept that it's like, just talk.
Yeah.
Just have fun. Don't be all stiff. Loosen up.
It's conversational.
Yeah, you don't just sit there and
every time
It's-
on it, in his is, are we going to cut that out? Are we going to cut that out?
yeah, it's not like you're sitting there doing a Today Show interview, where you're just promoting your book or whatever. And I mean, some people do go on to promote books and do stuff like that, but still, you're on there to have conversations. When I was doing the thing with Frankie yesterday, it was just a conversation about life.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you just want to get into.
Letting people get to know you a little bit. So it's kind of like, in my mind, people see you every day and what you do, and they always come up with their own kind of narrative or, of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So on a podcast, you kind of get the ability to show people who you really are and that you're more than kind of the sum of all of your parts, that people see of you.
Absolutely.
So,
And thanks for being our live studio audience yesterday, by the way.
hey, I was invited. There's no way I'm going to turn down an invitation to come and watch you talk about yourself. It was really, really good, though. I mean, the questions he was asking, they're very, they kind of dig into the nature of Bob Goff. And I don't think a lot of people know you through Muddy River News and through past experiences with you, but they may not know the nitty gritty of where you came from and why you do what you do. So I thought it was really interesting.
Just a small town boy.
There you go. That song was just on. Also, speaking of today's show, The TV show is coming to Quincy.
Yeah, it'll be on Friday morning, so it'll probably have been on by the time this airs.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're doing a Friday night lights kind of Friday football thing.
It's super cool.
Interviewing the coach, and I'm sure it's, since it's an NBC thing done through GEM. And I think it's really great recognition. I mean, they're really good this year.
It's better than the past, notoriety that Quincy's received from, what we've talked about in the past. Yeah, national news of Quincy isn't always the best.
Notoriety in football, because they were really bad once upon a time. So
yeah.
When you were in high school, they were probably pretty bad.
They were really bad, but the last game that Luke and I went to see, of course, to watch my niece because she's a Palmer, they killed him.
Yeah.
Man. And I'm like, man, it makes it so fun to go and watch when you're a fan, when they just smoke the other team.
Moline, the big game this week, I think.
Yeah.
So it's they're having they're really good. They're having some success, and Matt Shuckman did a really cool Shuck on the Truck with the lineman today that we dropped on the sports site. And it's he does some really good stuff there going on over at Quincy High on the football field. And it's like I said, I've been telling people, and some people, I guess they're a football school now, and a lot of the old timers will kind of bristle because of the tradition and history of basketball, and which it's a storied tradition and it's a storied history. I'm not saying it's not, but
you can have more than one.
It's also been a long time since they brought home a state trophy.
Yeah,
too, so
I think you can have more than one, and
two things can be true.
Exactly. Not everything has to be mutually exclusive, so that's good. Excellent. Yeah. So I'm really excited about the guest today.
So am I.
I think you're excited about what he brought. I'm sure you're excited about him.
No, not just that.
But you have the opportunity to have a little fun too.
Yeah, but I think like we were talking about with podcasts, I think it's going to be really interesting to kind of dig into who he is and how he came to be where he is, and I'm just really excited about it.
I'm looking forward to hearing his story.
Yeah,
I think it'll be great, and I really the bridging of the generations. I think that's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Because the place where he comes from. Again, we're talking about story traditions in Quincy. This place certainly is one of those, and they've changed, but it still has a little bit of that feel. But it's still it's a cool place.
Yeah.
So
The new je ne sais quoi.
there you go.
Wow, look at you go.
Yeah.
Bing, 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 bing. Nice word.
Well, thank you for making me feel equal with the glasses today.
Hey,
That's good.
right? Yeah.
That's good.
We're nerds.
We are. We're the coolest nerds there ever was, I think. So, yeah, very cool.
I'm a nerd. I fully admit that. So.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
That's good.
All right, coming up, we'll have our guest right after
Kicking
this.
back old school tracks like damn. Can't get enough of this mo like I don't even know where I am.
The Liquor Booth is your home for a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits. The Liquor Booth has 2 locations in Quincy, 3520 Broadway and 1500 North 12th Street. The Liquor Booth, where it's always happy hour.
A lot of people in Quincy probably know this fella. This is Chuck Lankey. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Fantastic. So, Chuck, we've known each other for a long time, and as we were talking before, we have multiple connections because this is just such a small world, right?
Small Quincy.
It is small. It is. It's big, but it's small. And you are, of course, the executive chef at the Patio restaurant.
I am.
Okay. That is one of my favorite places, has been for a very, very long time. So not only am I excited to, dig into kind of who you are and how you came to be, but also, look at this.
Lovely lady.
See?
Brought us. Okay, so it's a signature, I guess, of the Patio. I've never heard of these before until I started going to the new Patio. It's called a Shambong.
Okay.
That was his lovely lady Megan, and today is their 16th anniversary.
Oh, well, that calls for an applause for sure.
And you can see Megan at the Patio as well. She's one of the best servers there. She is the one who, introduced me to the Shambong. So,
All right, what is a Shambong before I partake, which I know I'm going to either way, but what
there's
is
champagne in it.
Okay.
And then I guess to spice it up, vodka, and then she made it even spicier with some
Chambord.
Yeah. Okay.
That sounds like my kind of drink.
All right. So how are we doing this?
Yeah, what do we do here?
Well, they're very simple. You just simply open your mouth.
Okay. And just down it?
Just
Yes,
down it.
I mean,
From the
It's
small end?
literally, yeah, from the
Okay.
small end. Not,
All right.
I mean,
I think.
yeah, from the small end. No.
Bob, are you gonna come over here next to me?
Yeah.
And I
They're
think-
kind of tricky to get out. So when you get them out, you can't just lift straight up.
you
You want
gotta,
to kind
like,
of pull it backwards.
okay.
Pull it out of the bigger hole, essentially.
Oh, boy, I'm just
Pull it out
totally
of the
going to
bigger
stir this
hole.
up. Pull it out.
Yours, Brittany? This one's yours.
Oh, boy.
You can have this one.
Okay.
Okay, I got it.
You got to hold it just right so you're not spilling it on yourself.
Oh, shit.
Okay. Gotta hold.
You
You got
see?
it, slide,
Right.
yep,
See?
yep. And then hold it just right, keep it level.
Okay.
Let me know when you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
Let's
Ready,
go.
go.
Oh. Oh boy. All right. So how soon until that thing kicks in?
Usually for me about an hour later.
Really? Oh, this is what has ruined your life the past
Yes,
few times,
yes.
right? Yeah.
It
Can't
makes her
wait.
kick the door.
Thank you.
Hey.
Yeah. So yeah, about an hour into this, then I'm like, shambong.
Okay, that's what you were doing the other day. I was like, I don't really understand. Now I think I do, and I
Yeah.
can't wait to fully understand it. Nice work.
I spilled a little bit, but
I spent a little bit getting it out, but yeah, that was really cool.
It's tricky to once you just know to keep it level.
Yeah.
Then it's fine, and it's like almost like an old school beer bong with
Yeah,
funnel.
right.
those
Just
are
kind
neat.
of open up and it just goes down.
But I gotta ask though, how many people order those and then they're like, oh shoot, can I get more because I spilled it? Quite a few.
That would be more of a Megan question. than
All
a
right,
me
all right,
question,
all right,
you
all right,
know?
all right.
I can answer lots of questions
Yeah.
of the food, but some of that stuff out
All
front,
right.
I really have to rely on them to do the best that they can.
All
do
right.
there.
One last alcohol thing before another thing Megan introduced me to that is an amazing, amazing drink that I think everyone needs to try is the espresso martini from.
Oh yeah.
They have a really good espresso machine there, I think.
Yeah, our espresso machines, the bean, everything about our coffee drinks, in my opinion, is phenomenal. I'm a coffee fan.
Okay.
That's funny that Megan would recommend that to you because she is a non-coffee fan. She doesn't drink coffee in anything.
Well, I think I don't know. I was there with a group of ladies, and they were all drinking them, and
Yep.
she still recommended
They're,
it.
they're really delightful.
Yes.
They are our espresso beans. They're from a company out of Tulsa, Oklahoma called Topeka. Topeka Coffee. It's a small Italian roastery. That's where their beans come from, is out of Italy. They specify ours just for us. They helped us get our machine that we do
Wow.
have. Our espresso machine, it's an Evercease machine. Phenomenal machine. It's a one-touch barista. I tell my cooks all the time, we're so lucky to have that back there in the kitchen with us. Most of the restaurants that machine's in, it's not in the back of the house. It's
Okay.
usually out front,
'Cause
like
it's
on
a
a pedestal.
showpiece.
It's like a showpiece.
Yeah.
It's real nice and pretty and fancy.
Oh, yeah.
We just really didn't have room at the bar
Mm-hmm.
for that to fit, so we put it in the kitchen, which is delightful. You know, I probably am good for 8 to 10 espresso shots a week.
Oh,
Nice.
And when we first
is
got
that
it,
what keeps you going?
yeah, when we first got it, we would make like different little drinks, and then after a few weeks, we're like, well, you know what? It'd just be just quick. We just took the espresso shot.
Yeah.
So we just.
I'd be
you
like
know,
Kramer on Seinfeld when he gets like all the free coffee or all the free espresso. I'd be like, for
Some
sure.
days it's like that. It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
depends on the
But
day
you
of
know,
the
in the
week. Yeah.
restaurant biz, you do have to be able to be on your game, and you got to stay up. You know, you got to be energetic for sure, which I definitely want to get back to. But we do have some questions leading up to where you are now, which of course, like we mentioned, is the patio. So we talked a little bit before about you being in Quincy and how you came to be here and where you were before. Can you give us just like a quick snapshot? Because you haven't always been in Quincy, right?
No.
Yeah.
Originally born in Detroit, Michigan.
'Kay.
Go Lions. Tough loss for Kansas City last week.
You feel so bad though.
I don't, because I was at the game.
I
I
saw
was
that.
there. I was in Arrowhead. It was amazing. It's the loudest stadium I could have ever thought about being in. It was crazy. It was a phenomenal experience. A lot of my friends are Chiefs fans, so I don't take that the wrong way.
Yeah.
Real quick, your post said something about it's been 20 years.
22 years since Detroit played in the city of Kansas City. So they hadn't played there in that long. We usually don't play Kansas City. We played them last year. We played them last year in Detroit and won, but we haven't played in the city of Kansas City in 22 years, I believe that's what it was.
Wow.
Gotcha. Cool. So Detroit, Michigan, you were born there and you lived there for how long?
Until I was 15. I moved to Quincy in 1997 when I was
Okay.
15 years old. Went to school here to the junior high here for a couple years, and then I moved to Tennessee, just in Athens, Tennessee, kind of Spring City area, Crossville, that sort of area. That's where I graduated high school. Then moved back to Quincy because my mother was here the whole time. My father was in Tennessee. Moved back to Quincy when I was just before I turned 21, I believe. And I've been here ever since.
Nice. So yeah, we're talking about connections. So we have multiple connections. We hung out a little bit in junior high. We were definitely good kids, so don't get the wrong idea. Hung out with a lot of really cool people, and then when you came back, we now have another connection, which is my cousin Abby and Matt and Madison, right? So
Yeah. So my daughter is your cousin.
Yes.
Small Quincy.
yes,
Yeah.
right. So and she's an amazing kid, and of course the whole family loves her, and we all love you. And very proud to be sitting here talking to you because I know that probably, moving around and when you come to a place like Quincy, maybe I'll just ask you this instead of telling because I don't really know. But so when you found yourself back in Quincy, did you consider yourself wanting to always be a chef? Was it just something that kind of happened? How did this come to be?
It just kind of happened. But then once it happened, like, as I thought back, like after the fact, I was like, well, I was like trained forever for this. Like, I grew up cooking a lot with my grandmother. I cooked a lot. Like, I tell my kids all the time, I was like, I came out of a home with a single mother, 4 children. We cooked a lot, us kids did, when I was like 10, 12 years old, I'd make cheeseburgers for the family, you know, like it was crazy back in the 80s, things was different then,
Yeah, you were on the grill. Now they can't even touch a lighter.
Yeah, now they're not even allowed to touch the lighter. The stoves are mostly electronic, so it's weird. But no, I started cooking at a young age, I think a lot of my cooking, my roots of it, probably are Southern and came from mostly my grandmother who taught me most of my cooking at a young age. And then after that, I just kind of once I got into the industry when I was like 19 years old, it just kind of felt good.
19.
19. 19 was when I first started in the restaurants. I've worked in a few here in Quincy. I worked at Spring Lake Country Club when I first moved back to Quincy. I worked there for a couple years. That's kind of my roots and my start. And then I started off at the Patio just under 20 years ago as a dishwasher. Just washing some dishes on a Friday night.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
That's
just
how
worked your way up.
Just worked my way up. I left for a few years. I went and I sold cell phones. I went and I worked at Sprint here in Quincy and then became store manager of the Hannibal store. Did that for a couple years, and I always kind of liaison cooked still. Like the Nisewinders are very good friends of mine.
Yeah,
so
great people.
Mark and Kim, Mark would reach out to me, and
they were the
chefs,
original owners.
Yeah, they were the original
Patio.
owners for the first 16 years that I worked there. And then they would reach out, and I'd help them with caterings all the time and big parties and things like that. So, like over that 20-year span, I don't know if there was a year I didn't ever get a W-2 from the Patio, that was just part of it. The same with Megan, like she would help their waitressing or different caterings or things like that,
Go back to Grandma real quick. What was the best recipe that she taught you, or what's your favorite thing that you cooked with Grandma?
Favorite things would have to be biscuit and gravy.
Really?
Biscuits
That's
and
pretty
gravy,
Southern.
Yeah.
Make them spicy?
My gravy's a little sweet, Some people complain that my gravy's a little, and it is a little sweeter than my grandmother's. My gravy's a little bit different than hers was. But it's still a Southern gravy, very homemade, very rich, but got a little sweet to it,
Now, gravy, you're talking about sweet gravy. I just got to ask this, and this one is not on like anything, but you put sugar in your spaghetti sauce?
I actually put.
Why don't you answer yes or no until because this is like a total controversy.
It is, but I can meet almost in the middle there. I put grape jelly in my.
Wow.
So the grape jelly for me, I have
secret recipes are coming out.
I always, and that's funny that you say that because I always tell all the cooks that work under me or work with me, I don't hide anything. If anyone,
that's cool.
I will give if anyone, like I just had a buddy reach out last night, was like, man, how do I make Alfredo sauce? I gave him my full in-depth recipe. This is how you make a great Alfredo sauce. If it doesn't taste as good as mine, I'm sorry.
Because it doesn't have the love.
Yeah, it's all about the love.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So I try not to hide anything, I want to feed the world. I want everyone to be happy and hungry and full,
Chuck, that's
So
awesome.
For me, it's just about feeding people.
Yeah.
And the love, and it's funny that you didn't really have a connection. Well, you did, but you didn't realize it until you kind of, looked back a little bit, which I think a lot of people can find connections with what they're doing now and not really having a plan or a journey moving towards that, but then seeing how things influence you to do that. So real quick, going back to Mark and Kim, because they were, the owners and they ran the Patio, not even just owners, they were acting.
Yeah,
they were very active in
So
that
for me,
restaurant.
when I first started the Patio, I never forget it. I literally didn't know what I was doing. I was coming from a hard separation. I had kind of split custody of my daughter at the time. It was a bad deal. I didn't know really what I wanted to do, but I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for Mark.
Yeah.
Because when I first started there, it was like a predominantly woman kitchen. It was me and another guy. They were pretty much the only two guys in the kitchen. And I'm talking about like some
They're hardcore, dude.
Roughneck women.
Hardcore.
I mean, these women, the old dishwasher lady, she back there the whole time, cigarette hanging out her mouth. You know? And this is back.
taking no shit.
This is 20 years ago, so this is early 2000s.
Intimidating.
And you could smoke cigarettes in the restaurant. You know, like at that point, bar side of the restaurant, you could smoke cigarettes. And I tell my dishwasher all the time, I'm like, you guys got it lucky. I'm like, they used to bring me back bus tubs that had like pork chops and ashtrays and the last of your martini.
Barware,
So now we don't even have bus tubs. We carry everything back individually and set it in a stack for them, you know.
Nice.
They're
so
spoiled.
like, it was very different back then. And Mark predominantly trained me on how to cut steaks restaurant style. And so at that time, another waitress that was working there, her brother had purchased the butcher block here in town, Dan Vile.
Okay.
And she said that he was looking for some help. So I reached out to him. You know, being at the patio, you're there every night. You don't get to work pretty much till 2, 3 o'clock. So I had a lot of time during the day. So I started working for him part-time as a butcher and learned kind of the butcher aspect of the restaurant that's a lot different.
Right.
You know, a butcher cut of everything is just different than a restaurant.
Sure.
Because we serve it to where it's perfect at a restaurant. You know, a butcher, you kind of got fattier pieces. And so it was really good for me to learn that part. But you know, a lot of my training in my beginning when I like started the grill and doing the meat cutter at the patio, a lot of that training was from Mark Neiswinder himself.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's what I loved about them the most was, you know, you guys knew if you ever went in the patio before, Mark and Kim were always there.
Yeah.
I mean, they were very
active.
Being present
very
is a
in
big
there,
thing.
You know? Yeah.
And it was a different experience because, you know, a lot of restaurants, it's kind of like get them in, get them out. And if you're sitting there too long, they crank down the air because they want to that turnover, you know. But the patio was different because they were like, "Come in, this is an experience." And
we try to slow down. We give our waitresses, you know, like now is different compared to before. Before we would we couldn't see like exacts. Now I can tell you the last time Brittany came in and exactly what she ate. I can look at her profile and tell you how long she sits at her table. I can tell you what she drinks. I can tell you everything about it.
Wow.
So, you know, we gather all of that information now, and we try to slow down our service. We tell our servers all the time, slow it down. You know,
So you're like-
we control all that.
it's an experience. But
Yeah.
you're analyzing your clientele, which I never knew. That's very interesting.
Right. Well, for instance, a customer reached out, and it was a very good customer of ours. It was their son, and they're like, "Hey, Mom and Dad, I want to do something really nice for them. Can you go back at their last 2.5 years and look at everything they've ordered, and have them come in, and we'll do. We offer something at the patio that we call a shut up and eat. So that means you would come in,
Like that.
and I would talk to you beforehand, and I would just want to know, say you two wanted to sit down and do a shut up and eat. I would talk to you beforehand about what you don't like, what you're allergic to, and things like that. And then I would create a menu that you would not see. So then you just sit down and
I
order
like
your drinks.
this.
And then, so what this customer did, he said, I want you to create a 5-course meal for my parents of all of their favorite things, maybe an old patio, maybe new patio. And so I created a 5-course meal. Essentially, they didn't get a menu. They didn't get anything. They just sat down and just started getting food.
I
And,
love
and
that.
so for us, you know, that's part of that. You know,
How-
like sometimes they get aggravated. Like, what's our phone? When we ask customer their name and their phone number, like, I don't want to give you that. Are you going to
I-
put it in a telemarketer?
I get that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
But now that you're saying this
Yeah,
and
like-
explaining this makes
It's all to make your experience perfect. That's it.
you're making this experience perfect before.
Before you even
Yes.
sit down.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
That's
the same
freaking
with-
awesome.
Same with reservations. You know, we're not only reservation restaurant, but we would prefer you to make a reservation
want
so
the
we can
best.
have Brittany's table. I know Brittany wants table 52 or one of those, you know, booths or
Yeah.
one of the horseshoes. So we would want to have that table ready for you. Sure, if you're out and about and you don't have time to make a reservation, just show up. We'll get
Can you do that shut up and eat thing anytime? Or, I mean, obviously you make a reservation for
Yeah,
this.
yeah, so-
But, like,
so
is
the-
it available only on certain days?
Nope, it's
or?
available anytime.
You just include this in
it
your
would need-
reservation.
well, it would need to be discussed beforehand. You
Yeah.
just need to reach out to either me, myself,
Uh-huh.
or to the patio and just say,
That's
I'd
so
like to sign
cool.
up to
That's
do
so
this.
cool.
You know, say we've got 10 people, let's do a shut up and eat for this amount
Yeah.
of people. You were there for weren't you there for one of a tasting that I did?
I don't know. I know I've been there a lot lately.
That's awesome.
The brunch has been my biggest thing lately.
The brunch has been our biggest hit lately.
Really?
It's huge. I mean, as
So
far
we
as
don't even need to
people-wise-
promote it. Stop talking about it because I want a table at the brunch.
Right?
You
Yeah.
will always have a table for Brittany at the patio.
Heck
Don't
yeah.
worry.
So, talking about experience, you know, the experience of the patio has always been based on experience, not just food, right? So, just in your opinion, since you have experience from prior to and now. So now, who are the owners? It's Jude and Ryan.
Ryan Jude Tanner.
Okay.
And then Jay Crottinger.
Okay. And the experience has kind of remained. It's amped up a little bit, right? It's a little more. I don't know what it's kind of fancier,
More bougie.
right? It is bougie.
It's
Yeah.
a high city vibe.
It is. It's different, but the same. And I'm trying to explain that in my words, but I would like you to kind of, since you were there before and you understand what it is now, like, what do you think are similarities and what do you think is different, better, etc.?
Similarities is we're a place of celebration.
Yeah.
The patio's always been a predominant place of celebration in Quincy. You know, whether you're celebrating your 16th birthday, your graduation,
anniversary.
your 16th
Yeah.
anniversary, you know, any of those things, the patio has always been that place. You know, your homecoming, you know, your prom, those things. The
Yeah.
patio has always been those things. As far as old to new, you know, with new, we've tried to, I don't want to say get away from that mentality, but we don't just want to be your celebration. We want to be your Wednesday.
Every day.
You know, we
Every
wanna
day's
be
a
your-
celebration,
I
man.
celebrate Wednesdays
We
all
have,
the
we
time.
have shambongs available every day.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
so,
a
you know,
Thursday and we're celebrating. So,
right,
yeah,
right.
absolutely.
And so we've tried at the new patio to get away from that, but still give you that level of customer experience that we've grown to expect from the
Yeah,
patio
sure.
after, you know, I think this is what, 64 years? 63 years.
Wow.
So in 2019 was the 60th anniversary. So 64 years.
That is a long freaking run,
August,
especially for a
yeah.
place in Quincy. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, we got some great places here, but that's a long stretch,
Long
which is
stretch.
really, really cool. Do you, I'm just going to sneak this in because I was talking to her about this but so I've been traveling a lot recently and, AI, automation in restaurants, especially in chains, so it may not hit local places, especially local places who put an emphasis on experience. But what do you think about like automation in restaurants? You know, where they hand you the tablet and they're like, place your order, they bring out your food, they're like, leave a tip. Like,
So we do that at the patio.
You do?
We are one. We're
Okay.
one of the ones. So we have our POS system, our point of sale system.
Yeah.
It's called Toast. It's
Okay.
one of the best in the world. And again, this goes back to, like I said, about why we're asking you the data in the beginning.
Okay.
We want your experience perfect.
Yeah.
So how many times have both you ladies been sitting at a restaurant and you guys order, it actually just happened to me last weekend in Kansas City, and you order something that's on the menu and your waitress writes it all down and they take it and they go away, and then 13 minutes later they come back and say, Brittany, I'm so sorry, but we don't have those onion rings.
Right.
We just don't have them.
What she meant to say was, I forgot to ring that in.
yeah.
Or even, and I forgot to ring that in. With our wait staff, when we're standing at your table with our handheld, that essentially the kitchen, we're able to work together with them and control the numbers as well. You've been in this industry, so you know how many times
So
have you guys ordered something to the kitchen, and then the kitchen
I
tells
need
you
it
you
on
don't
the
have
fly.
it.
Yeah.
And then the kitchen
Yeah.
tells you they
86
don't.
that.
Yeah, well, we 86
86
that
it.
20 minutes ago. Where
Yeah.
you been? So with Toast and with the digital, I'm able to control that number. So if I go into a Thursday night and I know I have 16 patio chops, I put 16 in the system and you can't order anymore.
Yeah.
You just can't. And so you don't have those mistakes. And that's the biggest thing for us is we want to eliminate all those errors. You
Right.
know, we want Brittany to say, I would like to order calamari, and say Megan's her waitress, and she's looking at her system and calamari's got a 0. on
Yeah.
it. Right there in that moment, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Brittany, I don't have that.
So this
Or,
is good
you know,
where like AI does serve.
Well,
good
I mean,
in that.
digital is a little different, I think, in my mind anyway, than, you know, we're not, so especially at the patio, you're not eliminating that personal touch.
No.
You're incorporating it.
Yes.
There
Absolutely.
are a
Wanna
lot
make
of
it better.
restaurants
That are
that are
trying to
they're-
eliminate it.
They're eliminating the personal touch, the actual server.
person.
So it's like you are basically the server. And then, you know, of course, it's going to be right, hopefully, right? Because you have normally maybe the dishwasher bringing out your food. Who the hell knows? But and then it's like at the end, they're like, tip. I'm like, is this tip coming to me, man? Because I don't know. But yeah, I was just curious if you ever saw like the patio or any other local joints eliminating that personal touch. Like,
No, and I don't think that's ever a channel we would ever want to
No.
go down.
Yeah.
Because how would we be the patio without that touch?
Amen.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You know, like,
that's kind of what I was hoping
if
you would
we're-
say.
If
I
we're
was
not
like,
bringing out that candle and that sparkler to tell you happy anniversary or happy birthday, like, who is some robot?
I
mean,
think.
does
Well,
that
that's
make
what
you
Or happy
that's
Thursday.
where we're going.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying, and so that's why you keep it local and small because then the robots can't take that over. You
right.
know?
Well, and it also has a lot to do with ownership culture, which I've been to the patio a few times, and it's evident from the moment you walk through those doors that the culture is strong. The vision, the mission, everything is cohesive. You're all on the same page as far as what kind of experience you want to offer your guests, and I think that's amazing. The culture probably speaks louder. I don't know, maybe not. See, this is what I'm saying. Like when Mark and Kim had it, I would go in and it was like, okay, you're going to be here for the experience, right? Now when you're there, it's like, okay, we're here for the experience, but I don't really know what to expect because it's going to be different and amazing every time.
That's good, right?
Right? It is.
It keeps you on the edge.
It does. So it is just so cool. And then the last time we were in there, actually, the owner came around and was talking to us, and we were in what's the room that was,
Gucci room.
yeah, it was.
Everyone calls
but
that
it was
the Gucci
inspired
room.
by.
That's Millie's. That's
Millie.
what we call Millie's.
Yes,
So
I
that's
know.
Yes.
named after Millie Gates.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Ryan Tanner, one of my owners, who is from Quincy. He worked for Millie. He was her garden boy. She helped him through college. He was forever grateful to Millie. So he donated that room and kind of named that after her. Her favorite animal is a herring.
Yeah.
And that's what the animals are.
Okay.
So cool.
Our designer, Chris Murphy, who designed the restaurant, a world-renowned designer, he's actually a Gucci ambassador.
Okay.
So he doesn't per se work for Gucci. He still pays full price for everything, but they show him the stuff first.
Yeah.
So him being a Gucci ambassador, he was able to have them customize that wallpaper for us just for Millie's
Insane.
room.
It's so cool. And the
I
chandelier.
love the wallpaper all around and all the places. It made me want. I'm like, we need wallpaper in our house.
Right?
That's what I've been.
I think it inspired a lot of people.
I
in
really
Quincy.
The wallpaper, it's really making a comeback.
It
And
is.
the guy who did it, I'll never forget him. His name's Junie. He was probably like 80-something years old. He's an
Oh,
older guy
what?
from like maybe from Tulsa, maybe from over in that area somewhere. But he works with Chris Murphy a lot. And this wallpaper that he was putting on, like that Gucci wallpaper was
Wallpaper is not
phenomenal.
easy.
And so we have if you ever go to Millie's room, pay attention to the vent. So there's a big vent, like a register
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
side of the wall. And this
It's
man,
just so precise.
this man, he put the wallpaper on the vent.
Oh,
It's like the
And
most
then-
phenomenal,
yeah.
and it's got whole. It's
like cut-
it's
it's- yeah.
it's the most phenomenal thing ever. And then he actually put a piece of that wallpaper in the Millie's room wallpaper, the herring. He put a piece of that in the kitchen's restroom. We have a
Okay.
restroom in the kitchen, and we blocked the
that's
window. So the last day
smart.
he was there, he did that as like a going away gift for me. He was like, "Here, Chuck," because I kind of was talking about the pink wallpaper the whole time, and I really enjoyed it. And I don't want to tell you to touch it, but it's got it's almost like velvet.
Oh, your boss.
Texture.
Your
It's
boss
got
is
like
going to
a
hate
texture.
you,
Yeah.
Chuck.
That's
No-
like the
no,
painting,
everyone's
the painting in the
touching
men's
this.
room, the Abraham Lincoln
Yeah.
painting.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
People
had to
have
put,
to touch
We
it?
had to put it's got plexiglass all the way around the whole
Oh, because
painting
everyone was
because
touching
everyone
it.
just touched it.
Well, now you're going to have to plexiglass the entire Millie's room. But no, it's really, really cool.
It's a cool room.
Yeah, it really is. And I would recommend if you're looking for a true experience, of course, the Shut Up and Eat sounds amazing, but that room,
Party of 12. That room, the max capacity of that room is 12.
It's amazing.
And then Solarium, the maximum capacity of the Solarium, I believe, is 50. Or
Okay.
50 to 60. 60's tight. in
okay.
there.
So the vision that, is it Tanager, or what is the group?
So there's Ryan Tanner.
Yeah.
And there's Jay Crottinger.
Okay.
So together, they make Tanninger.
Tanager.
Tanninger
Yeah.
is like my
pretty
email.
smart, yeah.
So my email, for instance, is chuck@tanninger.com.
Okay.
So that Tanninger is lots of things.
Yeah.
Tanninger is Tanninger Hospitality, Tanninger Sciences. Tanninger Sciences is we are in the medical field where we do prosthetics and the
that's
plastics
where I
and
think they
stuff.
got.
Holy
So
shit.
their
with Jay,
success.
Jay does a lot of that. And then there's Tanninger Entertainment, which has 5 running Broadway musicals in the world.
Wow.
Right now, they're getting ready a new one is just getting ready to start. I don't know enough about the entertainment.
That's all right. No, I just wanted to
so
dip my toe in this
that
'cause it's
part
so
is-
interesting.
That part is really cool. So they travel a lot. They have been they have won I believe,
Tony?
two Tony Awards.
Yeah.
This year, we were nominated. So on my resume, I can say I was nominated because I work for Tanager.
Yes.
So this year, we were nominated. We were nominated for a Tony Award, but we did not win this year.
Nominated? Shit, I'll never even get close to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch
and
one.
Then,
Right?
And then there's Tanager Hospitality. Tanager Hospitality is the Patio restaurant, and then that's also the Elkton Apartments, which is above us.
Yep.
Started out as 52 apartments. We finished it with 36 apartments, 2 offices, a gym, and a laundry room.
Okay. And that was after the fire, right? Because I want to
Yeah.
make sure
Yeah.
we mentioned
Yeah.
the fire, because
Yeah.
that was like, oof.
That's what shut it down.
No.
and-
So the last fire that the Elkton had was probably Mark's going to text me as soon as I leave here and tell me I was wrong.
Yeah.
It's probably 6 or 7 years before before the
closed.
Knives-Winders left. Yeah.
When they
Yeah.
left, you said, what year was that?
That was December 31st, 2019. New Year's Eve, 2019.
Okay.
Was
I think I went there on that New Year's.
that
was
was
like
the
their last-
craziest
Yeah.
last
I
2 or
think I
3
did
months
that.
of my life in the restaurant
Yeah.
industry. You know,
But
I
then-
knew for a while, but like I think it was 5 months before we closed, they announced.
Yes.
When they announced,
everyone-
we had to stop answering the phones. It got so bad.
Oh, I
like
bet.
it was so bad. We just quit answering the phones. We couldn't get reservations. I mean, you couldn't get reservations a week out for
Yeah.
the patio, you know, before we closed. And so we closed that January 1st was our last day. I went in a little bit after that and kind of got some inventory put away and stuff like that. And then Jay and Ryan bought it, I believe, March 22nd of 2020.
So right when COVID hit. Technically the shutdown.
Yeah,
The
so
right when
so
COVID
the way
hit,
that
but
that
like
worked,
the shutdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did that work?
It was weird. So January 1st, I had got a compensation for, you know, with the Knives-Winders for staying till the end. And so I had that, and I told Megan, I was like, I've never claimed unemployment. I had a project upstairs. We wanted to do a separation in the house, kind of a home renovation. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a few months off, get some unemployment. I'm going to get this job done upstairs.
Really, there was no option for anybody in the service
But in
industry?
January,
Right.
it was.
Oh, okay.
And so
Okay.
this was pre-COVID. We didn't
Okay.
know. We didn't. So,
Yeah, because
so
it was
I
more
get it.
March.
I get it.
But
Yeah. So I did that in January and started getting unemployment. Started doing this project, and at that point, by the end of February, I was a little doubtful about what the future hold. I still talk to Mark all the time, and he was like, "Well, it's trying to get through. These guys buying it, and this and that." And so finally in March, Mark reached out, and he was like, "The purchase went through." He was
Awesome.
like, "The only person they wanted to know about was your number." And so they gave him my number. So
That's gotta
it was
feel
probably
good.
it was probably like a week. And so I still, at that point, I didn't know because I didn't know who was buying it. You know, like Mark gave me creative control I wanted, so it was great. So I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ryan called me, and I remember that day. At first, I even told Megan, I was like, well, if he calls, I don't know if I'm going to tell him, it just depends on what he wants to do. You know, what their ideal of what's going to happen with the patio. So after about an hour and a half phone call with Ryan, I was like, I'm on board. And
nice.
it's been crazy ever since.
That's awesome.
I was fully involved with all of the build.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking
Really?
every
aspect?
Every step
That's
of the way.
cool.
His,
I mean, it was
build up
Yeah.
is a lot like we talked about this. I ran into him, the show The Bear.
Yeah.
It's identical.
anybody
Second
has
season. Have you seen that?
I just told her I watched the first season. I loved it.
well,
I
then I
haven't
can't
gotten into
talk
the
about
second
Okay,
season.
so
Yeah, I can't.
we won't
yeah.
do spoilers, but The
No.
Bear is a show on Hulu. It's Jeremy Allen White, who was on Shameless. He's a cutie.
He is a
and,
cutie.
Yeah, sorry. We have to talk about how cute they are.
Well, you know, that's how we pick a lot of things. That's
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's how I picked the show because I
the
mean, we're
show
foodies.
itself
Yeah.
is for anybody in the service industry super relatable. For those not in the service industry, I feel like it's anxiety ridden.
Yeah, but it
But
should.
isn't the service industry anxiety ridden?
Yes. So like
But
I'm
it
trying to have
should
my
be-
husband like watch this with me a lot,
Yeah.
and he's just like, "Oh my god!"
should be required viewing because
think
then
so,
you get
too.
the peek into, and then maybe people won't be such a-holes when they
Yes.
come to a restaurant, right?
Yes.
Because it's like, yeah, there's a lot. So it's like,
a lot of moving parts.
there's a lot of moving parts, and when you walk back in the kitchen, you're like,
Yeah.
because it's so high stress.
You turn
And then
on
you walk
and
back
off.
through those doors, and you're like this.
on and off.
It is. It's,
Well, for
it's
the front of the
wildest
house,
thing.
much more than me. I try to stay in the back
Well,
of the house.
no,
I
yeah, but
come
you
out a
still
lot.
deal with
though.
it a
I
lot.
do come
You
out a
still
lot.
deal with it.
I got a little hook right next to the door. When my apron goes on that hook, that means I'm coming out front.
You're
so
very sociable at the tables.
It changes.
Yeah.
That's a difference between you and I think other chefs. is the fact that you do go around to the tables and talk.
Yeah.
Most chefs are like, do not bother me. You
Yeah.
know.
I am lucky enough to have a phenomenal crew. I tell people all the time, I've got a guy with me that's been with me from day -0, and he is. I mean, he thinks like I think. You know, it's a.
Would he mind you shouting him out?
No,
Okay.
it's Mike. You know, Big Mike.
Big Mike.
So he's been with me since the remodel.
Okay.
He's been with me forever.
All right.
You know, he is a phenomenal guy.
He is.
My sous chef. His name's Dawson. I mean, I'll give my whole crew a shout out.
Yeah.
Dawson.
Absolutely, you should.
I got Dawson underneath my belt. He did his internship with me through culinary. He was doing a degree in culinary arts. It was time for an internship. He reached out to the Patio. He did his internship with me, and then he stayed on board. He's been with me a little over a year. Phenomenal person. He is my replacement.
Yeah.
I tell him all the time. And
How old is he?
He's young. He's under 25, I
Okay.
think. You know,
That is
so he'll
young.
be
But
another
good
5
for
or 10
him.
years before he's ready to replace me.
Yeah.
You know? And then I just got lucky enough to get a girl that just finished culinary arts school in Iowa. She is my garde manger. Essentially, that's like my pantry chef.
Yeah.
She does all my baking goods and all
A
that
garde
stuff.
manger.
So
I like that.
she's phenomenal. Her name is Maddie Williams.
Okay.
She's phenomenal. Other than that, you know, I've got a good bare bones of them crew, and then everyone else just kind of fills their needs.
Yeah.
You know, they let me, you know, sit here on your guys' show at 441, and they're back
I
there
was
getting-
wondering about
Right?
that.
I know,
like
I was
they're
too.
prepping.
Thursday nights. It's
pretty
funny
big.
that you asked for Thursday nights because Thursday nights I try to not go in the restaurant.
Oh, okay.
That's the night that I try to take my night
Good
off.
timing.
Yeah. I usually work. You know, we're closed Monday and Tuesdays, but I usually work Mondays and Tuesdays because of inventory,
Yeah.
recipes,
I was gonna
menu
ask about
creation, and all
that.
that
Yeah.
stuff. So I try to take Thursdays off, kind of a pre-weekend thing.
Yep.
So when you said Thursdays, I was like, oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect night.
That's
Pre-game.
awesome. Yeah. So one of the things I was going to ask, so you are a chef, and a lot of people, of course, you know, associate that with cooking. But I saw, I don't even remember where I saw it. Maybe it was on Facebook or something social, whatever. You were at a desk, and I think you were maybe ordering inventory. So you run like the gamut of responsibilities in that restaurant, from customer service to cooking to ordering.
Yeah. So my wife Megan, she's in charge of all the catering and large parties. As
Okay.
well. So you know, sorry. See.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Is your watch named Megan?
Yeah.
She might have changed in that.
Yep, she changed it. Yep.
No, but she runs that part. So you know, I work for Tanager. I tell people that all the time. My job is so much bigger than the Patio restaurant.
Yeah.
It always has been. You know, Tanager, we own the Armory across
Yeah.
the street.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
That
Fisher's.
can hold 600 people. So you know, the Patio and the Elkton, we are sold. That's just us. That's as far as just Tanager, as far as Ryan and Jay. The Armory across the street, we own that with the Fishers, with Megan and Ryan Fisher. Phenomenal.
Amazing people. Amazing family.
We own
Great
that with
place,
them,
yeah.
and that's a great experience. We tried to make a lot of similarities compared to that, to the Patio.
Yeah.
You know, we painted it the same green on the inside.
very,
you know, a lot of
very
those
pretty.
things. That is a very different venue from what Quincy has to
Mm-hmm.
offer. That's the biggest thing I can say about
100%.
that. That's like nothing else you're going to go to in Quincy. It's very rustic, brick, and
Yeah, but
big
it's
and
beautiful.
beautiful.
Man, it's beautiful.
Bathrooms are so pretty.
The bathrooms
Just when
are
you walk
phenomenal.
in,
All
you're
of it.
like, where
Now,
am
when
I?
you walk in, did you walk in from the parking lot or from the
from
Jersey
the
Street?
from the
The Jersey
Jersey.
Street.
Now that's
oh
a
man, that
phenomenal
entrance,
walkthrough.
dude. You're
I
like
mean, it's
this.
like,
Holy
yeah, you got these two
shit.
grand staircases.
It's
just
very large city-ish, like not something you would
kinda like
expect
the
to see.
restaurant.
I think they've made it so you can,
Yeah.
you can rent just that front that
Yeah,
front part
we
too.
can do just the front for small, because you know, like if you have a
Don't
party
like
for
the
100
whole-
people,
yeah.
it's going to be a little weird in the back.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
100
it needs to be
people,
a little
you know,
more.
That's a
fine.
perfect
yeah.
size.
Yeah,
A
for
little
the
more
front,
intimate.
you know, that's for that more intimate, that more little baby showers. They
Yep.
did a Kentucky Derby party there. That was really cool. You know, that front's a cool space.
And then coming up, you have what is it? It's the Feast in the Heart of Quincy.
Feast in the District this Sunday.
Feast in the District
Yeah,
this
yeah,
Sunday.
yeah,
So that's it's on that street.
It's on Jersey Street. Yep.
So because they change it, I guess, every year. It was originally okay. So this is the Feast on Fifth that they've changed.
Evolved. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Evolved. But now it is the first year here on Jersey, or is this?
Yep, first year on Jersey.
Okay,
Yep.
and so
First
that's-
year the Patio's actually been involved at all.
And you are the entree
course.
chef.
Yep. That's Sunday. I think tickets end at 5 p.m. Hurry, get your tickets.
Really?
I think they can't.
Really?
They close tickets at 5 p.m. today, and I don't think this airs till later, so maybe.
Yeah.
I think
bet
they
you they'll
close
get you in if
yeah.
they really want to get
I
in.
know it's close to being full.
Really?
There's not much
That's
left.
awesome.
Oh, that is so
I talked to
good.
them yesterday, and it's pretty full.
Can you say what you're serving or no?
Yeah, the menu's already been posted. Our
Okay.
dish is spaghetti and meatballs.
Okay.
So a whole beef was donated for the event. Our
Grape jelly?
meatballs, no grape jelly. No grape jelly. This will be a traditional tomato sauce.
All right.
Very, very Italian. Our meatballs will be made of beef, pork, and lamb.
Ooh,
Wow.
that sounds yum, yum.
Phenomenal meatballs.
Jeez, not your.
And then there's
Not your
also-
average Ashley
Yeah,
meatball.
there's lots of other local chefs involved in that. First course is Madison Steinkamp at Fuzzy Bubbler, right,
Yep.
right across the parking lot.
Oh,
Yep,
she
neighbor.
does some great things.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I know Madison very
Crazy
well.
things.
Yep. And then second course is Jeremy Platt over at
Platt Daddy.
Platt Daddy. He is. My brother is related to him. My
Yeah.
brother is his cousin by marriage.
He's a
Small-
visionary,
Quincy,
too.
Quincy World.
What is it?
Yeah.
The 7 whatever.
7 degrees of Kevin
Yes,
Bacon.
it's
We'll
the
call
same
it 7
thing.
degrees of Quincy eating. Yeah.
And then Chef Sean over at Soul to Soul will have a soup course, and then the entree course will be me and Chef Sean. And then bread course and dessert course will be Kelly over at Times Square.
Awesome.
Wow.
So yeah,
That sounds
lots of that.
phenomenal.
And so that dinner, it will be one table of 200 guests right in the middle of Jersey Street.
Very cool. I was telling her we ate in the middle of the street in San Francisco. It was at like a, oh man, it was called like, the name was very obvious. It was like hot noodles or something, and we got it, and I was like, holy shit, this is so hot. But it was.
She didn't know why. It was
No,
so
I was
hot.
like, okay, well, name speaks for itself, duh, Ash. But it was a really cool experience in and of itself. Quick question: so you may not know, maybe you do, but there have been talks of a boutique hotel from the Tanager properties. Do you know
Oh, that's
anything
not
about-
talks. I mean,
It is-
that
it's
is
in the
happening.
works.
That
Okay.
is in the works.
All right.
And that's funny that you say that. The boys, I call them the boys. That's Jay and Ryan.
Yeah.
They'll be in town this
boys.
weekend.
'Kay.
I think they actually arrive either late tonight or first thing in the morning.
Okay.
And they've got a couple people that they're walking through. I've
Cool.
got keys. We can go over there and take a walk
Would
through
love
if you
that.
ladies would like.
Yeah.
I would love
we should
that.
set that up.
Yeah, we should.
Drinks and a walkthrough of the old bank building.
Let's do that, Chuck.
I actually, last time I was in that building, I had a buddy of mine and I was just kind of giving him a tour, and we went to the roof, and that's where we plan to make a bar. It's on the roof of this, and the roof of this thing, like the view, is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I wanna
And
see
I was
this.
on this roof, and Chrissy Duran, you probably know Chrissy
Uh-huh.
Duran. She was in an apartment right here
And you
across.
could see her?
Yeah, and she see me, and she called the cops on me.
No.
Yes, she did.
Well, dang it,
I was
Chrissy.
coming down the stairs, and all of a sudden, the cops are out front like I had heisted a bank or something. And I was like, "What's going on?" And they were like,
You
"Someone
heisted a
called and said
bank.
there was people on the roof." And I was like, "My company owns this building.
It
I'm allowed
was
to be
me.
here.
I'm not
I was like,
jumping.
I've got a key.
Everything's good.
Yeah, I've got a
That's
key.
so
No
funny.
work has started there. You know, that is a huge project.
It is.
Yeah.
It just.
But it's still exciting to know that it's
Yeah,
not just talk. That's
It's
why I
not
wanted
just
to bring
talk.
it up. Okay.
As far as what I can discuss and what I know is that project will have people. We will be obviously involved because we own the building.
Sure.
But there will be some other people in Quincy involved. There'll be people in St. Louis involved. There'll be people from Tulsa involved. Like that is a big project.
That's big.
But
also
we're
very
hoping,
cool for
I
Quincy.
believe by spring to break ground and start the demo.
Excellent.
I think if I'm correct, they have just recently finalized the blueprints.
Sweet. That is so,
yeah,
cool.
moving forward, and that's
Yeah, I didn't
a
wanna, like-
designer out of St. Louis. The architects out of St. Louis. It was just a little big of a project.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's huge, and
little
it's
big
huge
of a
for
project.
Quincy. I just think it's really neat, so I wanted to bring it
that's
up.
You
right
said
across the
robbing a
street.
bank.
Yeah.
It was a bank. That's the last time I was
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Last time I was there,
Right?
it
It's
almost
gonna be
was.
so cool.
But the vault's in there still, so all that. So
Yeah.
you know, the goal for that is kind of is the restaurant for sure, first floor
Sure.
bank building. If I have my decisions, then hopefully the vault stays as a private chef's table.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Oh,
like
that'd
how
be
we do
cool. Yeah,
Millie's.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you come in the vault. That can sit 18. And
Yeah.
dinner in the vault. That's
As long
kinda
as I
cool.
don't get stuck in there.
Yeah, that'd be kind of
That would
would
be scary.
sh-
That
well,
would be
you know-
scary. Something
I
else
think
that's
we'd make the door not locked.
Yeah.
There
You
you
have
go.
to like fix the door to
You're
where
gonna have to
you
fix
can't
it.
even just flip it and
Or
joke
you just
with
get a
them.
welder
Yeah.
on hand,
Yeah.
or like, what do you call it, like the
Yeah.
cutter thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what
doors
the hell I'm talking
locking.
about. Yeah.
You have that dream okay, so like in the service industry, we all have nightmare service dreams that, like it's just.
Mine's nightmare all the time.
Yeah, I think mine is never. It's never really a fun.
It's never
dream.
fun. It's always pressure.
Mine is always the door won't shut and people just keep coming in, even though it's after close.
That's your dream?
Yeah.
From the service, from like
it's a service. It's a common service.
So for me, I think the new patio has changed that for me.
So you don't have these
No, because
keys.
I don't have keys. I've
You're
never
in
had
charge,
a key.
though.
There's no keys. All of our doors get in electronically. I just walk up and touch it, and it just lets me in. Like there's like so. For instance, I never worry about, did someone unlock the doors when it's time to open, because the doors automatically open at unlock at 4:50, and they automatically lock. Like we've had an instance where customers went out after the doors have locked and smoked a cigarette and can't get back in because our doors lock 10 minutes after close.
Good to know.
Every day it's all
That's cool.
electronic. So that part, I think that's eased it over the last couple years for me.
Yeah.
Previous to that, no. I think that's more of a front of the house thing.
It might
What
be.
if you send out a dish and you're like, that wasn't supposed to have this? Did you ever get that in your dream later? Mine was always, I forgot the ranch.
Mine was always.
I forgot the ranch.
Yeah, mine
I
was
think
like.
that's a waitress one.
It is,
but
and
like, if you're
it's-
cooking the thing,
Mine's
maybe,
more
maybe,
ordering, being the chef and in the position I'm in. Like I'm like clockwork every night. I tell people all the time, I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
It's
I,
just-
go, I go back to bed.
Yeah, it's just a
'cause I'm more of
schedule.
I'm more
So
of a-
does my dog.
Yeah.
So how annoying.
Oh.
So some mornings I wake up and I think, did I order Brussels sprouts yesterday? Like,
Yeah.
that's the weird
Yeah.
stuff for me. For me, it's more of an inventory thing and a
Stress,
and a party
anxiety thing, yeah.
Like, did
Can
I
I
reach
do
out to that
that?
customer?
Yeah.
Did I send that email back?
Yeah.
Did I
Yeah.
follow up with that email? Like, those things are constantly there.
Maybe it is a front of the house thing, because
Well, maybe-
mine is like the restaurant is so big and I need to fill that lady's Pepsi up, but I can't get to her.
Because everyone's grabbing.
Because
I need
everybody's
this,
like,
I need
everybody needs
this,
their
I
ranch,
need
right?
this.
It's
Everybody
like,
needs their ranch.
Or I've had the one where you go in the back and you're like, I need my, and they're like, we 86 that, and then they go out and then the customer yells at you, and it's just, yeah.
I try to tell my service staff if we're ever out of anything. My rule is, I have a couple weird rules, but one of them is if we're ever out of anything, you tell them as soon as you approach the table.
I've had that
So,
happen there.
at the patio, it's huge, because I've been that person and I've ordered something and my mouth be wet for that.
Yeah.
And then they come back because they got an old generic system and wrote it on paper. They came back 15 minutes later and like, hey, I'm sorry, but we didn't have that. And I'm like, man.
That's
you done
why
made
I
me
came here.
Yeah, like that could have been the reason I came here.
Yep.
But also to get something in the customer's head, and that's what they want, and it's such a letdown.
Yeah.
It's also like my waitresses get kind of aggravated with me, but I won't let any part of the table walk until all food is up. It's like my rule.
Yeah.
Is that every single plate. And like, so say there's a
So you're
Yeah.
not taking
Yeah.
out two
Nope,
plates?
yeah.
never.
Okay.
At our
That's a
table-
good idea.
But how many times have you been at a restaurant and,
And
say
it's
there's
so
6
awkward.
of you, and then everyone gets their table or food but you?
Yeah.
And here you are just
You're
sitting.
like
or
and
everyone
then
gets your
everybody
food but the little kid.
They won't eat.
The
Like,
little
at least-
kid that's the most angry, that needed
Right?
its food the
Yes.
most.
And then whether you're the person with the food or without the food, you're like,
It's
should I
awkward
eat?
either way.
Should
Yeah, do I
not
start
eat?
eating?
Yeah, it
I
is.
let my food get
Yeah.
cold.
I
and
love
wait
that
on-
rule.
Yeah, so for me, and then it's also like, say there's 3 plates up and we're waiting on a Cajun penne pasta from Dawson. Dawson, I ain't calling you out here.
Getting
Don't
called out,
wait on
Dawson.
Cajun penne pastas.
Yeah.
But say we're waiting on this, and so the waitress sees 3 of the 4 plates up, and she's like, all right, chef, I'm going to start running. And they start carrying that food, and Dawson goes to put that on the plate, and he drops the whole plate on the ground.
Yeah.
What happens then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It don't happen all the time, but
Right.
it can happen.
Yeah.
It will inevitably
So,
happen now that you mentioned it.
For me,
yeah.
it's always all food is in the window, and then the table walks. We try to be very presentable when it's at that moment. We want to come out, and we try not to auction off food.
Sure.
At the patio, we always put your seat numbers all in the same order, so we aren't like coming out and being like, who's got this? and
Who's this?
We
Yeah.
already know what you got.
Reaching over
Whether
the
you're
people,
a busboy
yeah.
running the
Yeah,
food,
yeah, yeah.
a hostess running the food, me running the food, or a
You're
chef,
labeled.
or whoever,
Yeah.
we know where that
It
food's going.
leads,
So
I
we
mean,
just
it just lends to the experience, 100%. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up quickly because everybody's running out of drinks. But I have a question, and if Brittany has another one,
Okay.
we can let. Any special or funny anecdotal moments, memories from past or present experiences in the kitchen?
I don't know. That's a weird one.
It is weird. Could be getting the cops called on you for being on the roof, but I'm sure when you work in a kitchen.
Probably the
or
funniest time I've ever had at the Patio restaurant would have to have been like, most of our old Patio customers would remember this, and it was a Super Bowl party we had internally for our employees only. And I remember back then we smoked in just an area in the kitchen. We just like smoked cigarettes back over here in this corner because that's where everyone
Good
did
old
it,
days.
And I remember sitting back there smoking a cigarette, and another one of my cooks eating a cheeseburger on a fork, sitting on Kim Neiswinder's lap. That's probably the funniest and most fun I've ever had at the Patio restaurant.
This was after a couple drinks.
Lots of drinks.
Yeah.
It was a Super Bowl party for employees only.
See?
So,
and then everybody gets to let their hair down.
New Year's Eve is like that as well.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve's
Yeah.
always been like that at the restaurant.
You guys do New Year's Eve,
Oh, yeah.
right?
That's New
And then
Year's
the
Eve, Christmas
after.
Eve. Those are our two biggest nights of the year.
Okay.
New Year's
Yeah.
Eve, Christmas Eve, and Valentine's Day. Them are the three
Excellent.
big ones.
So cool.
So
Yeah.
make your
Get your
reservation for
reservations
those
right
3 days.
now.
Yeah, make sure you do it and do the shut up and eat because I think that's freaking
let's do
amazing.
that.
Yeah, I think you guys should get like a group of 12,
I think
fit
so,
in
too.
Millie's room. And
All
we
right,
do
I
a
think
cool
I
shut-up
think we
and
should
eat.
go do a tour of the boutique hotel building, and then we should go do a shut up and eat. That sounds like a perfect day for
I
me.
think so too.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Let me know
Chuck?
if you ladies want to book.
Yes.
This has been so cool.
So fun.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come back on because we had a lot more questions. I had questions like what are some things off the menu that people order, so you're gonna have to come back. Yeah. We don't
Number
have-
one item,
Yeah.
patio pork chop.
There you go.
Nothing's ordered more than the patio
Really?
pork chop.
And that's from before,
Yeah.
maybe a little
The-
different.
It is different
Yeah.
at the new restaurant.
Okay.
It is the same cut of meat. It is a
Okay.
2-inch thick patio pork chop. Ranges anywhere from 18 ounces to 32 ounces. Very large, just depending on the size of that.
Delicious. Speaking of delicious, this interview has been amazing,
I know,
and now
I'm,
I'm
like,
hungry.
so
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are open in 4 minutes,
There
so
we
you
go.
you ladies can go on down and grab you
Heck
some
yeah.
appetizers, grab
That
a couple
sounds
drinks,
awesome.
more shambongs if you'd like.
More
Well,
shambongs.
I think it's one and done for me.
I don't
now.
know. I'm ready to potty. Anyway, Chuck Lankey, this was so
thanks,
fun.
ladies. Thank you for
Appreciate
having
you
me.
coming in
Hey,
and
no
chatting with us. You'll have to
Thank
do
you.
it
Thank
again.
you.
All right. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, let's go shambong.
Let's do it.